The Navy SEALs are one of the highest performing organizations on the planet, and a former Navy SEAL was asked, who makes it through BUD/S? Who makes it through the selection process to become a SEAL? And he said, I can't tell you who gets through, who makes it, but I can tell you the kind of people who don't make it. He said the star college athletes that never have been really tested to the core of their being, none of them make it through. He said the preening leaders who like to delegate everything, none of them make it through. He said the big tough guys that come in with huge muscles, covered in tattoos, who want to prove to everyone how tough they are, none of them make it through. He said some of the guys that make it through are skinny and scrawny. He said some of the guys who make it through, you will see them shivering out of fear. He said, but every single one of them who makes it through, when they're emotionally exhausted, when they're physically exhausted, some way, somehow, they're able to dig down deep inside themselves to find the energy to help the person next to them. Service. Service. Giving to another, having their back, is what makes the highest performing teams in the world. Not their strength and not their intelligence. It's their willingness to be there for each other.
So much evidence these days to show that values-driven cultures produce high returns, high performance, and simply the best companies on the planet to work for. Over the past 10 years, we've mapped the values of over 1,000 organizations in over 50 different countries. And what we found is that the organizations where they have a current culture which has a strong set of values, which not only align with people's personal values, but also align with what people would like to see as a desired culture, these organizations are the most profitable by a long way. And we're operating out of an old paradigm of leadership. But if you look at it from a consciousness perspective, we're really operating out of a paradigm of what's in it for me, as opposed to what's best for the common good. So instead of being the best in the world, we need to be the best for the world. This is a shift, best in the world to best for the world.
Honor, respect, care for, protect, and reward your employees, regardless of title or position.
People who are in positions of leadership are recognizing that their leadership must be values-based.
Well, the culture part, I had actually started a company called Link Exchange with a college roommate back in 1996, and we grew that to about 100 or so people and then ended up selling the company to Microsoft. But what most people don't know is that the reason we ended up selling it was because the company culture just went downhill. We didn't know any better to pay attention to it, so we hired all the people with the right skill sets and experience, but they weren't culture fits.
Values, the values piece of paper in your organization should be one of the two most tattered pieces of papers you have. The other one is the job description of your employees. But the values should be looked at, lived, and talked about and encouraged on a daily basis. Values are a written reminder of the only acceptable behavior you can have in an organization. The number one value at WD-40 is we're going to do the right thing. That's what we're about, is doing the right thing.
With Zappos, wanted to make sure we didn't make that same mistake again, and so pretty much from the beginning paid attention to company culture.
The right people are self-disciplined, or self-motivated, or self-managed, or self-obsessively driven to make great results, or self-learners. And as we wrote in Good to Great, the moment that you begin to feel the need to tightly manage someone, you might have made a hiring mistake.
The old model to me was all about the leader having the answers. Now it's about the leader having the questions and the power of being, invested into the people, the followers. And that's, I think, in business, what we're talking about in terms of the change in the business model. It's not about just getting that short-term fix of results. It's about understanding the longer-term implications.
Because it's difficult to change your culture. Now, why might that be? It's difficult to change your culture because you have to change yourself.
Yes.
when we're laying on our deathbed, you're not going to worry about how much money you had, how much power you had, how much prestige. You're going to see that that was all game, that was all an illusion. The only thing that's going to matter is the impact you had on other people's lives.
We are all on a separate journey. But the beautiful thing about our life here on this earth is at my funeral, they ain't going to talk about my success. They're going to talk about who Nick was and how Nick lived and how Nick loved and encouraged.
Success is incredibly important, but even more important than success, it's having an impact. It's knowing you haven't walked the planet in vain. It's knowing that because you've been here, you've blessed lives, you've developed people, and you have made the world a better place.
The effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. Everything you gain in life will rot and fall apart, and all that will be left of you is what was in your heart.
Life is a mirror. And life gives us not what we want. Life gives us who we are. When you were born, you cried while the world rejoiced. Live your life in such a way that when you die, the world cries while you rejoice.